Imagine your teachers ask you to store the marks of 100 students in a C++ program. Would you create 100 separate variables like marks 1, marks 2, marks 3 all the way to marks 100? Sounds exhausting, right? There has to be a smarter, cleaner, and more professional way to store multiple values, and that's exactly where one of the most important concepts in programming comes, and that is array. In this episode of ShiftCore, you will learn what arrays are, how they are stored in memory, why indexing starts from 0, how to take input, print output, traverse arrays, and much more. By the end of this lesson, you will be ready to solve real array problems with confidence. So let's master arrays. Arrays in C++. Store more, write less. Complete beginner to intermediate guide. So why do we need arrays? Like, imagine your teacher asks you to store marks of 500 students. You can't write like 1, 2 all the way to 500. It's so exhausting. And with arrays, this is all you need. A one variable, and that can store multiple values. Just say marks 500 and afterwards we can enter all the marks. So arrays solve the problem of storing multiple values of the same type using a single variable name. So what is an array? An array is a collection of elements of the same data type stored in contiguous memory locations. See this, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 for these 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So the characteristics of arrays are same data type, fixed size. You can see 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 all are whole numbers, and therefore they are all integer, and integer is int, which is the same data type stored for this array here. It is of fixed size, continuous memory, and arrays have fast access. So how are arrays stored in memory? If memory address is 100 of value 90, memory address can be anything for any value. It is stored in memory. But the thing is, this is the first one, so the value it gets, it takes 4 bytes of memory to store that value. So see, if the 100 is the initial one, the next will be 104, next will be 108, next 112, 16, and so on. So simply the memory address takes 4 bytes of storage for a single value. So arrays occupies continuous memory locations, allowing elements to be accessed quickly using their index. So if it is int or byte, it takes 4 bytes, but for the others, some have 8 bytes as their storage, so they take 8. So then it will be 100, 108, 116, 24, that's way. So arrays declaration, this is the thing main. Data type, array name, size, this is the syntax. Data type like int, float, double, bool, array name, and the size of array. Understand, the data type, the array name, and the size of that array. Let's see, I take some examples. Int marks 5. So it stores marks as a variable array name for size of 5 elements. It floats salary 100 marks as 100 element size named array name of salary, which is of float data type. And similarly, char grade 10 means 10 grades are stored in grade, which is of char data type. Let me show you this in our VS Code also. Let's say hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard int main return 0. So here simply what I will do is I will just declare, let's say, marks. So inside this I will just say int marks 5, and that's it. My array is declared simply int marks 5 in square brackets only. So that's how easy it is. Coming back, array initialization. So what is initialization? Initialization means assigning values to an array at the time of declaration. Let's see method 1. Int arrays 5, and inside array 5 these are the 5 elements stored. So it is initialized with fixed size. Understand? The size 5 is given here. But there is also a method 2 also, in which we don't declare the size, but we give the elements 5, so it compiler automatically calculates the size and allot that size also. But the preferred one is this only. If we allocate the size of array, if values are already known, initialize the array while declaring. This is an important note. So let me show you this also. Let's say hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard int main return 0. So here, while initializing, I will say int marks 5, and inside this, understand the thing, inside the array declaration we use curly brackets. Inside I will say let any 5 numbers. So that's how our array is initialized with the values we have selected. It's so easy. If we know that we have 5 values, we should include the number of elements included, because that is important. So I hope you have understand this also. Coming to a presentation. So what is indexing? Indexing is the process of accessing an element in an array using its position number, called the index. See, index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 having these 5 values. So what is indexing here? If we say ARR 2 is 30, then 30 gets appended to the index 2 value. Understood? So remember, index is not the value, index is the position. The main thing is, we sometimes people take mistake that if these 5 values are there, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So take it as, they take it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for their index. But actually, this is wrong. Their real index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. While coming in the negative indexing, it starts from minus and it starts from -1. So -2, -3, -4, -5. If you don't understand it, wait, you will understand in the upcoming time. So why does indexing start from 0? Ever wondered why arrays don't start from 1? The base address index 0 takes 1000 because base plus 0 into 4. So that's why index 0 is taken. While the index 1 takes the 1004th address. Because base plus 1 into 4 is the formula for it. And simply index 2 takes 1008 with base plus 2 into 4. So each index moves one element forward in memory. So key idea here is computers calculate an element's location using the base address and the index, which is why indexing naturally begins at 0. So taking input in an array, very important. We take input using a loop. Taking input in an array. So we take input in an array using a loop. Let's say if this is a loop for integer I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. This simply means there will be 5 iterations for I is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Because I should be less than 5, when I become 5, it becomes false. So whenever each iteration happens, we will take C in ARR I, which means C in ARR 0 first it will be. So we will take user input for ARR 0. Similarly then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, as you can see, and that will be appended into that array. So you might ask, why use a loop? Because instead of writing 5 separate cin statements, one loop can take input for every element. For more clarity, we will discuss this in VS Code. So commenting this and hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard. Below here int main and return 0. So here understand the thing. We will use for loop to take user input also. Firstly, we will simply say cout enter 5 numbers. Simply we will say enter 5 numbers, and after this we will use the for loop. So for int I equal to 1, I less than 5, I plus plus. So this is the I loop, and inside this I will take user input cin marks of I. Let me take this 0. So I hope you understand this much. So next we will cout array elements. Let me add a new line also here. And for printing the array, we will use the same loop. But this time we will use C out, and inside C out I will say marks of I and add a space for better loop. I will just give it space, and yes, now it's done. So when I wait, so now when I run the code, now when I run this code, it says mark was not declared in the scope, and that's correct. Marks was not declared in the scope. So firstly I will say int, not here, int marks, and it's 5 as 5 elements it will take. So now when I run the code, in second let me clear it. File is on autosave, yes. It was not on autosave before. So enter 5 numbers. So 87, 77. I write 5 random numbers, and these 5 random numbers are printed as array elements also. As array elements also we have gotten them as output. So that's very nice. It's one step ahead in the arrays. Yes. So coming next, displaying an array. So displaying an array is for int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, cout arri. So I just displayed an array also in the last code. So observation is that the same loop variable I is used to visit every index one by one and display every value. So when we given 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 as input, so the console gives the same numbers as output when we display that array. So loops and array work together. Whenever you work with array, loops become your best friend. Coming next, traversing an array. Very nice, important topic. Visiting every element one by one. Traversal means accessing every element of an array exactly once. Simply, if these are the values and these are their indexes. So traversal simply means moving through every element of the array one by one using a loop. So we will start by this. Then after this we will go to this. One by one it goes through indexing and visits every element like this. Coming next, updating elements in an array. So changing values using their index. Let's say before this was a given array 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. But I want to update this third element. So note that the index start from 0. So the element at third has the index number 2. Understand, this is 0. This is 1. 1 second. Yeah, again this is 0. This is 1. This is second index. This is third. and this is fourth index. So if I want to access the third element, its index will be second. So I will, to update that value, I will say ARR, the index number which is 2, and the value I want change it to. So ARR, the name of array is ARR, ARR2 is equal to 500 means change the value at the second index of the given ARR, which is array, to the value I want it to, and this is that value I want it to, which is 500. So after update of ARR2, the array becomes 10, 20, 500, 40, 50 because the 30 is converted to 500 after this statement. I hope you understand it. Once the element at the specified index changes, all other elements remain unchanged. Arrays allow direct modification of any element using its index. So finding the size of an array. So knowing how many elements an array can store, we can calculate size. Let's say if int ARR5, its array capacity will be 5 elements. So size of ARR divided by size of ARR0, which means here size of ARR0 means either it's 4 bytes, 8 bytes, etc. So we can know that this is the size of that, and that will be the same of the size of that complete array, because we know the data type stores the same data type for complete array. So this expression calculates the total number of elements in an array by dividing the total memory occupied by the array by the memory occupied by one element. So very nice. The size is fixed at the time of declaration. You know the size is fixed at the time of declaration, whether it will be int, float, bool, char, and some more also. So the size is already fixed at time of declaration, so complete array will be of that data type only. So definitely some common mistakes that beginners make. You should avoid these mistakes. These are errors that cause very big blunders. Like if I access an invalid index, say ARR5 for an array of size 5. Let me show you this. Let's say, firstly let me do this. So let's say I say int ARR5 and I say for int I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, I will simply take the value of ARR of I. So this will take the complete array. So now if I say one second. So if I say here, below here, I will say cout ARR5. So you will see what will be the output. Once, let me wait. 1 second. Let me clear it. If a ARR5 is declared, which means an array of 5 elements, its index from 0 to 5, 0 to less than 4, which will become 4. So if I say cout ARR 5 here, see. One second. If I say 10, 20, there is a minor thing to understand it. That I will first here write cout, enter 5 elements, so I think it is correct. So now when I run the code, enter 5 elements, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. One second. Let's say I say ARR 6. It just gives any random garbage value. Understand this thing. If the array is of 5 elements, let me take it 5 also. If I run this code, I will say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 for these 5. And the value of ARR 5 comes 5. And that's just a garbage value. There is no ARR 5 here. So it's definitely a useless, a waste value. So mistake like this you should avoid. It's wrong. Or if a negative index is there, so ARR -1, doing this is wrong, it is incorrect. Or if you say incorrect loop condition using I less than equal to size instead of I less than size. What this mean? I used I equal to 0 in the for loop, and for the second thing I used I less than 5. So take in care you do this only. Don't take I less than equal to 5, it will be incorrect. That's the thing I am explaining all to you. Using uninitialized array, reading values before and assigning anything, that is totally wrong. So these mistakes may cause incorrect output or undefined behavior. Like I showed you, incorrect output was given when I say ARR 5 or ARR 6 because these are all garbage value. Because if a array is declared of 5 size, its index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 5 index will have. And if I say that 5th index value ARR 5, it is not there present. It's empty. So here we can get any garbage value. I hope you understand it. So real world application of arrays. So where are arrays used? Arrays are used to store student marks, temperature records, monthly expenses. It can be game scores. AI and ML learning datasets use a lot of arrays or image pixels also. So by seeing these examples, you could have understood that arrays are one of the most fundamental data structures in programming and are widely used in software development, data science, games, operating system, AI, competitive programming, and much more. So, I hope you have understood till now. Coming next is quick revision and rapid fire indexing challenge. So, arrays versus variables versus vectors. When should we use each? You know, when we store multiple, variable will have one value only. Arrays contain same data type but can store multiple, and vectors store multiple whether if it's not also the same data type. The memory, variables have separate memory. Arrays have continuous memory and vectors have dynamic memory. Size is fixed for variables. Arrays also have fixed size, but vectors size grows or shrinks depending on the requirement. Dynamic growth. Variables cannot grow, arrays cannot grow, but vectors can grow. Performance of variables is fast. For arrays, performance is very fast, but vectors are slow. So arrays are generally the best. Ease to use is variables are simple, arrays are easy, and vectors are very flexible. So today's focus is arrays. Vector will be covered in future episode. I hope you understood this. It's a very good, very important table. You can take a screenshot of it also. Coming to next now. So mini challenge. Can you solve this? Take 5 numbers as input and print the largest number. Pause the video and try solving it yourself before moving ahead. So this problem will be completely solved in the arrays practice lab, which is the next episode. If you can try it and you do it, you are doing very nice. And if not, you need to take care. So summary, everything we learned today, why arrays are needed, arrays declaration, arrays initialization, indexing of arrays, why index starts from 0, input of arrays, output of arrays, traversal of arrays, updating elements in arrays, array size, common mistake, real world applications, and array versus variable versus vectors. If you understand every point in this checklist, you are ready to solve arrays problem, which we'll cover in the next episode also very nicely. So for now, rapid fire challenge. Predict the output before running the code. So here is the question 1. Int ARR 5, cout ARR 3. Giving you 15 seconds, pause the video, think carefully, predict the output and then continue. Answer will be shown after all 10 questions. So yes, the answer for the question number 1 will be told later. Coming to the question number 2 is this int ARR4 given array here and cout ARR1, giving you 10 seconds now. I hope you have done it. Coming to the next question, int ARR5 cout ARR0 plus ARR4. A very good question. Let me explain it to you, and after I will show this in VS Code also. For now, if you have done it, very nice. Let me explain. ARR0 will be 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and the ARR 4 is 50. So it will mean 10 plus 50 and the output becomes 60. Let me show this to you in VS Code also. So if I say int ARR 5 is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and we will say cout ARR 0 plus ARR 4. So let's see its output in VS Code. See, it gives 60 as output as I explained you. It's very good. Coming back to our questions. Question number 4. Int ARR 3 is equal to 987. Cout ARR 2. I hope you have done it. Coming to the next question. Question number 5 and 6. Pause the video. Think carefully. Predict both outputs. For both question 5 and question 6. I am giving you 30 seconds. So, waiting. So yes, I hope you have done it. Let's see question number 5. Int ARR 5 is equal to this and ARR 2 is 100. So when cout ARR 2, the output becomes 100, not 3. And in question number 6, ARR 5, if we print cout ARR 4, it will print 1. Tell me the score now. For current score, how many you have got right out of 6 questions? Coming to question number 7 and question number 8. Try solving them. Remember for use or arrays, always start from index 0 and index means position. So value means data stored. Int ARR 5 this for question number 8 and we cout ARR 3, it becomes 7. And for int ARR 4 and we say ARR 0, the output becomes 11. Okay, the last 2 questions for all of you. Can you score 10 by 10? If you score 10 by 10, you are doing fabulous. I mean, fabulous guys. You are doing very well. Int ARR 5 is this. Cout ARR 1. giving you 15 seconds for question number 9. I hope you have solved it. The answer for this one will be 20. Coming to question number 10, giving you again 15 seconds to think. I hope you are able to do it. The correct answer for this one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4th. Here 4th is asked. So value of here it will be 25. After if you do 10 questions and you score 10 by 10, I genuinely mean that you are doing fabulous and you will not have any doubt future also related to indexing or easier beginner array work you are capable of doing. So write your score in the comments before checking the answers, because next we are going to check answers. Here you go. Rapid fire solutions. These are all the answers. So check your answers carefully. If you are able to score 10 by 10, you are excellent. You have scored 5 out of 5 stars. If you are able to score 8 or 9 questions, you are very good. You have scored 4 stars. If you are able to score 6 to 7 correct questions, you are good. You still need some practice, but you are doing nice. And if you have scored below 6, you need to revise this video, because this is the basic you need to. It's important. I am not demotivating you, but it's important so that this thing you get clear, then you will be able to understand the future things more easily. So revise indexing again. Don't worry if you made mistakes. Mistakes are the fastest way to learn programming. So congratulations, you have scored and you have successfully learned arrays. Arrays foundation is complete. We have gone through topics like why arrays exist, declaration, initialization, indexing, memory representation, input and output traversal, updating elements, common mistakes, real world applications, how arrays work internally. So the best programmers are the ones who memorize code. Aren't ones who memorize code. They are the ones who understand how things work. And one thing I would like to say to all of you is that congratulations, today you have taken your first big step into the world of arrays. You now know how to declare arrays, initialize them, access elements using indexing, take input, print output, traverse arrays, update values, and understand how arrays are stored in memory. But learning concepts is only half the journey. In the next episode, we will put everything into action by solving carefully selected array problems, where you will learn how programmers actually think while solving coding questions. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you have understood every concept before moving ahead. And remember the ShiftCore motto. That is master the core, build the future. I will see you in episode 10, Arrays Practice Lab. Till then, happy coding and signing off, ShiftCore.